The underground utility community is growing faster than ever. You need to be prepared to get the job done and get it done safely. This video will help you be aware of potential hazards and learn best practices for drilling properly. It is not a substitute for the operator's manual. Before you use your drill, read and understand the operator's manual, which can be found on your machine or at ditchwitch.com. In addition to this video and the operator's manual, the resources section of the Ditch Witch website features an extensive list of safety guidelines that we recommend you read and review frequently. A successful job begins before you dig. It is important to assemble a good team. The drill operator relies on the tracker for guidance for effective maneuvering around obstacles. The tracker relies on the operator to use the information and keep him out of harm's way. They must collaborate and be on the same page regarding drilling responsibly and safely. Protect yourself by wearing the appropriate personal protective equipment for the job site. This can include a hard hat, gloves, safety glasses, high visibility vest, hearing protection, and if working around electrical lines, dielectric boots and gloves rated for the proper voltage. Some job sites require fire-resistant clothing as well. Follow PPE manufacturer's recommendations for proper inspection and replace as needed. Do not wear any jewelry or loose clothing that can catch on controls or rotating parts, and tie back all long hair. Now that you've prepared yourself, it's time to prepare your equipment. With the engine off, check all hydraulic hoses and connections for visible signs of leaking. Check the ground under the machine after it has been sitting. Check all fluid levels and refill any that needed. Examine all drill pipe threads, back reamers, beacon housings, or other special tools for wear. Check the safety guards and shields for any damage and replace if needed. Fluid injection can lead to amputation, so use cardboard, not your hand, to check for hydraulic leaks with the system pressurized. Check all controls to make sure they are working properly. You and your drill are ready to work. It's time to prepare the job site. The first step in planning a bore is to review information already available about the job and job site. The more you know about and plan for the job site before you begin, the less likely you'll be to work around any surprises. Review blueprints, right-of-way, geological information, and maps of existing underground utilities and planned installation. Check for information about existing or planned structures, elevations, or proposed work that may be taking place at the same time. Inspect the job site for evidence of utilities, slopes, and obstacles you may have while drilling. Use the correct tools, machinery, safety equipment, and work methods. After you have gathered all the necessary information, plan the bore path from entry to exit. If the job site is around schools, hospitals, heavy traffic, or populated areas, or a business district, traffic or pedestrian control may need to be arranged before arriving at the job site. Contact local authorities considering any permits, notifications, or planning that needs to take place prior to drilling. Review the bore plans and mark the proposed bore path with white paint, also known as white lining. By doing this, you let the locator know exactly where the drilling will be taking place. Then, contact your local one-call to have underground utilities located before digging. Unless it is an emergency, you must give one-call advance notice to allow time for utilities to be marked. Also, contact any utilities that do not participate in the one-call service. Some utility companies locate only to the meter, so there may be lines that are not marked. Utilities on government land, such as schools, Air Force bases, etc., are privately located. It is imperative you have all underground lines and cables located and marked before operating equipment and verify those locates. Remember, locates are not exact. Do not rely on the locate markings alone to help minimize the risk of damaging underground utilities. Use a locator and information around you to verify that the locates are correct. Some contractors use a positive response acknowledgement. Therefore, they do not begin work Until they have positive response, a locate has been complete. Some utility providers require a photograph of the proposed excavation area, showing the locate marks before the contractor is authorized to drill. If locate marks are damaged, the locate must be repeated. Once the locates have been completed and verified, you are ready to classify the job site according to the underground hazards already in place. For example, if you are working within 10 feet of a natural gas line, the job site would be classified as natural gas, and additional precautions would be taken. It is important to use your electric strike indicator while drilling. This system is there to help protect and warn you and others of a possible strike. The system detects when a strike has occurred. It consists of voltage stake. This is to be located away from the machine. It detects the voltage difference between the ground stake and the drilling machine. Current transformer detects current flowing through the drill string. Reset status button, used to recheck the status if the alarm sounds. Self-test. The self-test should be done every time the machine is used. Alarm. If the alarm sounds, assume a strike has occurred. Strobe light provides a visual alert that a strike has occurred. The anchors, or the optional ground stake, need to be at full depth in order to fully ground the machine to ensure the operator is safe if an electrical strike was to occur. A bird on a wire helps illustrate why the operator needs to stay on the machine after an electric strike. 1 foot or hand on the machine and 1 foot on the ground would be like a bird on a wire touching a tree limb or utility pole. This happens because when any 2 points are at different voltages, electricity flows between them. This is known as step potential when walking on ground that is electrified. When your feet are at 2 different voltages, electricity can flow through your body. For this reason, you should remain where you are in the event of a strike. To help protect you, electrically insulated boots and gloves are required as a precaution when drilling on electric job sites. Grid mats are also sometimes used around the machine to reduce the chance for those around the machine to be shocked. Now that you know what the potential hazards will be on the job site, have an emergency response plan in case of an underground strike. Have the local emergency and medical facilities phone numbers on hand, and have access to a telephone. If you damage a utility, contact the utility company immediately. Having procedures in place before an emergency occurs helps you and others respond quickly and effectively. If the alarm sounds on the drill, you should assume an electrical strike has occurred and equipment is electrified. The operator and anyone on equipment connected to the drill needs to remain where they are and warn others of a possible strike. The operator should push the reset button on the electric strike system and wait 1 full minute. The electric company may use a recloser, which will interrupt the electricity for 1 minute and then reconnect. If the alarm continues, assume a strike has occurred, reverse the drilling direction, and try to break contact. Contact the electric company as soon as possible and notify them of the strike. Do not resume working, drilling, or allow anyone in the area until the electric company gives permission. If you are off the drilling unit, do not touch any equipment connected to the machine. Stay where you are unless you are wearing electric insulating boots. If you must leave, take small shuffle steps. Do not return to the area or allow anyone else to return until given permission by the electric company. In the event of a gas line strike, immediately shut off the engine if it can be done safely and quickly. Remove any ignition sources, warn others of a possible strike, and leave the area as quickly as possible. If the strike occurs in a neighborhood, warn all nearby occupants of the strike and evacuate the area immediately. Gas can leak into nearby buildings from the ground and reach an ignition source with the right concentration. If the strike occurs near a street, stop all traffic. Call the utility company and local emergency contact. Do not return to the area until the utility company gives permission. During the drilling process, if a fiber optic cable is damaged, do not look into the cut ends of the fiber cable or unidentified cable. This can cause severe vision damage. Damaging a fiber optic line can interrupt emergency communications. Therefore, notify the utility company immediately. Perform the emergency shutdown procedure if the machine catches on fire. Move the battery disconnect switch to the disconnect position. Use a fire extinguisher if possible. Leave the area if the fire cannot be extinguished. If the drill has a cab, an emergency exit will be provided and identified. It may be located in the window behind the operator's seat, or a glass break hammer may be provided. Check the operator's manual. Don't think an accident can't happen to you. Being prepared can help save lives, time, and money. As the drill operator, you have a responsibility to know all the hazardous areas on the machine, such as moving parts, safety guards, and possible pinch points. All guarding is there to protect you and others from harm and needs to be in place before using the machine. If guarding is missing, please contact your Ditch Witch dealer for replacement. Now that you've prepared yourself, the machine, and job site, it's time to head to the job site. Always inspect the trailer and tow vehicle before every trip. Make sure the trailer and the tow vehicle are compatible. Always use the proper hitch type and size. Make sure the tow vehicle is rated for the weight of the trailer and equipment. Each machine is specific to you. Be sure to weigh the equipment yourself. Consider additional weight that may be added from water, downhole tools, extra pipe, mud, and any other items you may need on the job site. If the vehicle is not large enough for the load, loss of vehicle control is possible. Securely connect safety chains and breakaway devices. Crisscross safety chains and make sure lights are connected and working properly. Load and unload the trailer on level ground. Attach the trailer to the vehicle before loading and unloading, and block trailer wheels. Equipment needs to be free of any mud and debris. Always load in the lowest gear or speed range. Drive the unit slowly onto the trailer until it reaches a point that ensures proper weight distribution. 10 to 15% of total trailer weight, equipment plus trailer, must be on the tongue to help prevent trailer sway. Now, set the parking brake if equipped. Lower the drill frame to the bed of the trailer, turn off the engine, and remove the key. Always use proper restraints and binders to tie equipment down, using the tie-down points as indicated on equipment, even if traveling only a short distance. Usually, the job site does not have perfect working conditions, so a hazard analysis should be made at every new job site. The conditions vary at each job site, so always look for any potential hazards to consider. Only operate equipment on inclines, if absolutely necessary, and only after a risk assessment deems the slope and conditions are conducive to a safe working environment. Perform a risk assessment on each slope to determine if factors affecting risks create an unsafe condition. Ground conditions, such as loose or wet soil, rough terrain, etc., reduce traction. Never work on an incline during rain, snow, or sleet. Saturated soil can give way and cause the machine to become unstable and tip over. Always travel slowly, with the heaviest side of the machine uphill. If a rollover was to occur, the operator needs to stay on the uphill side to avoid becoming pinned under the machine. The heavy side of the machine may change depending on whether the pipe box is empty or full. Operate only from the operator station. Use the proper operator position when driving, drilling, setting up, and anchoring. If your drill is equipped with a movable operator station, be sure to use the proper position for drilling and driving. To determine the minimum setback distance and entry pitch needed with the pipe bend radius, use a bore path calculator located in the operator's manual. The drill must be set up in a position to allow the anchors to be driven outside the tolerance zones of any underground utilities and easy maneuvering around any obstacles that may be in front of the drill. If the anchors can't be driven, the machine should be tied off and a ground stake used. When the drill is set up properly, a small pit can be excavated at the entry and exit points. Each pit should be marked. Follow all OSHA regulations and local guidelines for trenches and excavations. With more and more utilities going in the ground, accurate locating and navigation is becoming more important. Utilities that will be crossed during drilling and backreaming must be exposed and watched by a spotter. This can be done by using soft excavation, such as a vacuum excavator or hand digging, to verify the utility will not be damaged. The spotter must maintain communication with the operator. Expose the area beyond the depth of the proposed installation to verify there are not additional utilities underneath. You can expose a utility and then hit another utility underneath the exposed line. Only soft excavation is allowed within the tolerance zones. The tolerance zone is not measured from the located mark, but from the outside edge of the utility. Without the support or protection of the surrounding soil, exposed utilities may need extra support to prevent sagging or shifting during excavation, or a barrier that protects the utility from any punctures. The width of the backreamer must be considered when creating the bore plan. An operator may be far enough outside of the tolerance zone, but the additional width of a backreamer will put him inside the tolerance zone on the pullback. Keep in mind, the backreamer may not pull back directly centered in the pilot bore, depending on the geometry of the bore. If you plan on drilling parallel to any utility, additional precautions must be taken. More frequent tracking is needed to ensure the tolerance zone is not encroached, and more frequent potholing is needed to verify the location of the utility. Also, if not tracked frequently, the drill head can slip into previously disturbed soil where the existing utility is located. Follow all local guidelines for tracking and exposing utilities when drilling parallel to existing utilities. An experienced operator may think a utility is always buried at a certain depth, but the depth of a utility will vary. Never assume depths. Residential and commercial sewer lines need to be treated like any other utility. They must be located and exposed or inspected after boring is complete. A gas line can be installed through a sewer line and go undetected for months. Once the owner starts having problems with the sewer line, the plumber can rupture the gas line, trying to unclog the sewer line. Sewer beacons, locator ground-penetrating radar, or sewer cameras can be used to locate and verify a crossbore did not occur. If you are installing a gas line in a neighborhood or around businesses where a crossbore could occur, let the occupants know about the new gas line and ask them to call if they start having problems with their sewer lines. It is imperative that you locate and verify a crossbore did not occur. Serious consequences can occur if a crossbore goes undetected. Keep everyone at least 10 feet away from the drill while it is operating. The machine has many moving parts. It could also become electrified in the event of a utility strike. Before moving the drill, be sure to have visibility or direct communication with all coworkers. This confirms no one is working on the drill or in a hazardous location. Ensure that you have a direct view of the path you will be taking before moving the drill, and only operate the drill from a safe location. If your drill has a manually loading pipe system, such as the one shown, once the pipe has been set, all hands and clothing need to be away from the pipe and moving parts before any movement is engaged. If you will be working under the area of the drill, supported by a stabilizer or frame tilt cylinder, be sure to use the cylinder locks or the drill frame support if provided. While drilling, the drill string should never be pushed without rotating, unless the operator is steering. If the drill string is pushed without rotating, this could inadvertently push the drill string into a tolerance zone, utility, or could surface. The drill string will follow the path of least resistance. When drilling near a prior excavation, be sure to track more frequently to ensure the tolerance zone is not intruded. Steering should only be performed with direction from the tracker. If you are manually loading pipe, be sure that all parts are stopped, not moving, before loading pipe, and pipe guide is in place. Because of the risk of electric strike and moving parts, workers should not manually load pipe while drilling is in operation. Once the pipe is placed in the loader, workers should step back at least 10 feet to stay clear in the event of an ejected pipe. Rotating drill pipe or moving parts can grab clothing and kill you or crush your arm or leg. Set up a barrier around the front of the machine and keep everyone away while drilling. If you have the ability to log tracker readings by use of tracking electronics, this should be done for creating maps and future reference. If you do not have this ability, a bore log should be kept, and the contractor should create an as-built map for the location of the utilities installed. One way to record a bore is to utilize the Ditch Witch tracking system. This includes a tracker, display and tracking beacon, and special software. You have the ability to save jobs in its memory for future reference. For longer bores, changing pipe boxes may be necessary. This can be a dangerous task if safety precautions are not taken. Before lifting, be sure all pins have been installed in the box. Check the surroundings for any overhead power lines, and maintain the required distance by OSHA. An object does not have to come in contact with an overhead power line. Power lines can arc and electrify the machine. Do not attempt to load or unload pipe while drilling or backreaming. The lifting device needs to be certified for the appropriate weight of the pipe box. You should ensure the weight of the pipe box is evenly distributed on the lifting device. Lift only one pipe box at a time. If the weight is not evenly distributed, the pipe box can shift suddenly. Be sure all pins and keepers are installed before operating. If the pipe box pins are not in place before operating the lift arms, the box may fall while lifting. Pins must also be in place when removing a full box to retain pipe in the box. The bore must always be tracked through surface tracking or wireline. The drill head should be tracked at least every half to full-length pipe, and sometimes more, depending on the job site and job site hazards. To ensure the drill head is on course, the tracker can mark every half to full-length pipe with white paint to verify. Even the most experienced drill operator can strike a utility if a tracking device is not used. If the beacon battery dies or drill string breaks, the operator cannot push the broken string or beacon to the surface. The drill string must be pulled back anytime the ability to track is lost. After marking the bore path, the tracker should step to the side. If an electric strike was to occur, the ground above could explode or become electrified. If working on an electric job site, the tracker needs to wear electrically insulated boots as well. At the exit pit, two-way communication must be maintained between the drill operator and tracker whenever the tracker is near the exit pit. If two-way communication is not maintained, the drill operator can receive an incorrect hand signal and begin drilling while the tracker is by the drill string. He or his clothing can be caught in the backreamer. When the drill head surfaces, stop rotation and use only thrust to position the end of the string in the desired location. Your Ditch Witch tracker is equipped with the ability to disengage the thrust and rotation. As shown, the tracker control key on the drill must be on for this function to work. When the tracker control key is on, the rotation and thrust is disabled 16 seconds after the tracker is turned off. The green strobe on the machine indicates that tracker control is activated. Drill string thrust and rotation must be shut off while breaking joints, changing tools, and connecting product. Do not enter any pit until the operation of rotation and thrust is disabled and verified. When adding and removing pipe, always use the appropriate breakout devices such as quick wrenches, hydro tongs, or easy connect. Never use pipe wrenches, machine power, backhoes, etc. to loosen or tighten downhole tools. Pipe wrenches can fly loose from under a backhoe bucket or fly off the drill pipe and strike personnel with enough force to kill. While pulling back product, the reamer must be pulled up to the borehole before rotating to prevent the back reamer from walking to the side. Stay away from product being installed. If the swivel kinks, the product can whip around and strike anyone around it. Rollers or a crane may be needed to support the pullback product. Clean up any excess drilling fluids or cuttings around the entry and exit pit. The most serious hazards associated with HDD include utility damage, rotating drill pipe in front of the machine or any pit where drill string is exposed, rotating tools, back reamers at the exit pit, rotating product, thrown pipe wrenches, changing pipe boxes, and manually adding pipe. Your job is important. It is your responsibility to know the proper procedures, make sure the equipment and job site is ready to go, and maintain a safe working environment. Be a proactive and safe drill operator. We're here to help you get the job done, safely, efficiently, and effectively. After all, we're in this together.